Live. Yeah. Do believe we're going live. Yes. There it is. Fuck yeah. And intro. Hey, welcome to the Porch Boys podcast. I am, of course, John, the best member of the Porch Boys podcast, and I'm joined by another member of the Porch Boys podcast, Midget B. What is up, dude?
Oh, it's all good, dude. I'm glad to be here this evening. Very excited. Hopefully, we get some Chads calling in this evening.
I hope so as well. I don't currently see anybody in the chat, which is kind of lame, but hopefully they pop
All
up
right,
here.
we can waste some time while we wait.
We certainly can. Did anything cool and interesting happen with you over the weekend? I know it was your birthday weekend. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Indeed. Boy, have I got a couple of funny stories from that weekend. Anyway, first, I would say, yeah, it was that my birthday weekend. Uh, I spread, yeah, stuff that I was doing across the weekend. Friday night, I just had like a nice dinner. Beef, dude. Yeah, big fucking roast beef that I had made all day in the crock pot. It came out so fucking good.
That sounds amazing.
It was amazing. It was really good. You pull it apart, it was all soft. And let's see, that was Friday. Then Saturday, what did I do? Almost like I forgot. Yeah, I went and met Air Roars at Dave and Buster's.
That's
Uh,
cool.
Not too far from here. Boy, we've got some stories about that too. Just basically, it was crowded with like a particular crowd, and like everything was busy and loud and whatever. Honestly, we didn't get to play a whole lot of the games because they were all busy the whole time. But yeah, he was remarking on my, having survived the environment, if you know what I mean.
Ah, okay. I see what you mean. I think I
Yeah,
know
I
what you
think
mean.
putting
Knowing
up
him,
what
yeah.
I'm picking up what I'm putting down. So yeah, that was funny and it was cool. It was fun. We had a couple of drinks and the food was so, but it was cool that he showed up and then he and his wife and me and my wife. So we had a good time. And let's see. Yesterday, and I'm combing through the footage of what I got of it, but myself and another guy I'm hoping calls in tonight. Went to a local gun range and did some shoe tan for a couple hours. We got rained on, and what else sucks is like they had a limit on the number of rounds that they would sell us.
Oh.
So, like, kind of as usual, I didn't really shoot up a whole lot of my ammunition. I mean, I did, like, maybe 50 rounds or 60. But, like, yeah, we went through 100 of his. It was great because he's got the Glock 17 with an extended magazine. And so he'll load one up, the standard one up, and then he'll load the stendo up, and that's a whole box right there.
Oh, damn.
So, yeah, so what's kind of lame is like they would only sell us two boxes. And he ordered over a month ago ammunition on the internet, dude, and 1,000 rounds. And he's still waiting on it.
Oh my god, dude,
Yeah,
that sucks.
it really does suck because it was like 4 weeks ago yesterday. Yeah, it really sucks.
Yeah, I got that box of the 800 rounds like pretty quickly within a week.
Yeah, I've never waited like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Really sucks for him. On top of that, he's got real bad luck ordering online. Maybe he'll call in and talk about it. But yeah, real bad luck. So we went to that range and did some shoe tan. Went Boy, did we have a tough time getting a drink afterwards too. First we went to Hangar One, right? And they had just closed at fucking 3 o'clock. Okay, we walked in like 10 after.
Oh no.
It closed from 3 to 5, because they're a nice place. That's what nice places do.
Sure.
So they had closed and they're like, not gonna serve us anything there because they had old fashioned smoked. I was gonna have the apple cider old fashioned that said it was on special. Like I was all over it. Like,
Right.
nope, kicked us out of there. Shit, and I'm dressed like a bum, right? And then fucking get kicked out of that place, lame. So we go down to the British pub a little bit further down the road, stop in, for some pints, and they it's like 3:30 and they're talking about, oh, we close at 4. The kitchen is closed already. We took our last order 20 minutes ago. Like,
Oh my god.
Jesus, dude. I was like, just give me a Guinness, like, and make it, a tall one, and keep them coming. Like,
Right.
fuck.
Like, give me one to go. Fuck.
Yeah,
Huh.
Jesus, man. I was like, I just want to drink.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. So,
fine. All right, so your kitchen is closed, so I can't enjoy your. They had like one massive. It was like a whole fish and chips and stuff, like, so I can't enjoy your meat pies, and your beans and sausage. Like, just give me a fuck.
I do think it's pretty funny to go to a British pub and order a Guinness. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's what Villius said. He was like, I wonder if they'll, try and
Give you
kick us
shit.
out for
Right.
that.
Or at least like banter with you in some kind of way.
Yeah. No, I mean, it didn't seem like the hostesses were at all, British. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
the place itself felt, it was cozy. Like, the ceilings were low and the bar was pretty low. And, like, there was all kinds of cool stuff all over the walls. And, like, it was made like a cottage.
That's kind of
Like,
cool. Yeah.
proper, like, with a big fireplace and stools for your feet at the
Right.
table. Yeah, dude, it was a proper pub. It was a proper British,
Right. But
inn.
I mean, it's a lot like Mexican restaurants down here in Florida, right? You know those motherfuckers aren't from Mexico. They're Puerto Rican.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, or some
not
kind of
like back
Caribbean.
home.
Like they're not. Yeah.
Not like back home where they really are fucking Mexicans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You go to like
Yeah.
a legit, taco place in some like legit city. That shit is banging though. And you know the more fucked up the place is, the better tasting the food's gonna be.
Right. Yeah.
Like they got
Because
the shitty fluorescent lighting and like white hard floors. I'm not even sure what it's made of, and like plastic tables and chairs and shit. But that food is gonna be on point, dude.
they're fucking chucking out like greasy fucking tacos.
Right?
None of that fucking vegetable shit on theirs either, is it? It's just fucking greasy meat and maybe some rice.
Right. Maybe some rice. Maybe if you're lucky, maybe some cheese. But it'll be like Kraft shredded cheese or some
Yeah, but
shit.
they're not about the
What? Not about what?
cilantro and all these hipster fucking toppings for tacos.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're not getting all this fancy shit on your goddamn taco. They're like, here's your taco, eat it. What's wrong with it? Eat it. It's good. Eat it. Um,
Where's my
yeah.
playlist? All right, here it is. All right, let's see about this.
Oh, do we want to try and watch some footage?
Not yet. I'm just going through it right now to queue it up
Gotcha.
so that we don't waste a whole lot of time. It
Yeah, I
took us
gotta.
a while to get around to actually shooting it. I set up the camera and then it took us a while to get around to shooting it. So,
Gotcha.
but yeah, dude. So that was the weekend. It was cool. I got myself a nice new amplifier. It's so nice, man. Like, it's a tube powered Marshall, and like it's only 1 watt, but it's fucking yeah, it's super great. It's really nice. All right, so there's that one.
Yeah.
There's the hit.
Hell yeah, dude.
Okay, and then the other one is 4 minutes long, so I gotta find where it actually gets hit. So here it's like 40 seconds.
You should probably go ahead and message your boys because we don't
Yeah.
have anyone else waiting at the moment. So I want to make sure we get at least a couple of people
Yeah, all
come
right. Let
in.
me bother.
Yeah, dude, bother the hell out of them. Yeah, we don't have the normal crew here tonight. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, well, probably busy. Oh,
But
see, that one doesn't get shot until like 3:47. Okay. All right, cool. All right. Why don't you go ahead and hold on a second. I have to do this first, don't I? Let's go ahead. Screen.
yeah, there we go. I'm gonna share that. There we go. Let's do some of that. All right.
Hey,
And
nice,
then
dude. So yeah, I'll play it in slow motion. This is
give it
me
one
with
give it one
this
moment
is
here.
all
Sorry,
right,
one
cool.
moment. I've got to figure out how to do this in I gotta do some on the spot fucking changes here. Gotta remember how to use this goddamn thing.
What are you using, OBS?
Yeah. Gotta remember how to add shit.
Oh yeah, you got to add like a screen to the screen, right?
Right. It's a pain in my dick.
Haha. All right, while you do that, let me go
Yeah.
ahead and message the guys. You let them know we're on the air and waiting for them.
Right? These motherfuckers. Alright, cool. I think I got it. I'll just have to figure out how to make this let's do
That's
this.
Patrick. Let me go ahead and message Vilius. Let's see here.
There we
Cool.
go.
So have you got it set up?
Yep, I got it because I'm a fucking genius. I
You
mean, not
are, aren't
really.
you?
No, not really, but I got it working. That's what's important.
All right, cool. So you do have it working, right? We
I do
ready to
indeed.
play this one? All right. So like I said, this is 357 Magnum, Remington green and yellow box, jacketed hollow point. All right, here we go. Shouldn't take long.
So this is
Set.
357.
Yeah,
Damn.
20% speed here. 20% speed. Should be about 43 seconds here, and it goes. Bam.
That's a pretty
All
good
right,
hit.
that's fun. Yeah, all right. So there's that one.
That is definitely a dead water bottle there.
That is a dead fucking water bottle in it.
In it. Water bottle. In it.
Yeah, I was dressed like a bum.
Yeah. I see we got feet docks there. That was kind of cool.
All right, so there's that one. All right, we'll go on to the next one, and we got to go way over to here.
I think you might have blown that one's lung out.
Yeah, this one is 9 millimeter spear gold dot jacketed hollow point. This one's gonna get its lung blown out for sure.
Yeah, I bet.
He hit it sort of on the top, but yeah, still pretty cool.
Yeah.
See, we got some clays back there that we picked up from the shotgun range and set up to shoot.
Oh, you just like set them up. We weren't skeet shooting.
We did a little bit of that, but like I said, we collected some clays afterwards and like stood them in the dirt and,
That's cool though.
and shot them. Yeah,
Nice.
which is yeah, pretty good because they're only like 3 or 4 inches across.
Oh yeah.
He ended up finally fucking Bullseye and them. He's got his new gun, and like we're not really sure of the sight picture, but by the end of the day, we got it pretty much what we wanted to do.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, did he fix his sights on that one that we were using before?
Oh, you see, yeah, I didn't go with Eric. I went with Vilius.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought you went with both of
Yeah.
them.
No, Eric didn't meet us there. He had other stuff to do.
What a fag.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, I just closed it without warning. I hope that's okay.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's not gonna fuck with me. There's nothing for them to see now. So all I gotta do is this. Yeah, cool. All right, and now we're back.
Yes,
Look at
we
this.
are.
It's like I'm a real streamer now.
Okay. Yeah, it's not bad. Hey. Uh oh, there's Katie. Yeah, she's in the chat. Cool.
Hey, Katie Z. Finally, someone shows up. Yeah, we were just watching Range Day yesterday with Midget B.
Yeah.
Or it looks like Golden
Little
Leaf is
short
in line.
footage. Oh, we could pull him in.
All right, let's do it. Golden Leaf, what's up? Oh, no. All right,
I
bye.
guess not. He's probably busy.
I might have to
Or
give
got
him.
a shitty connection.
Yeah, I might have to give him permissions again. Let me do that real quick.
Hey.
There we go. All right, Golden Leaf should be able to connect now.
Right on. Ah, he's kicked out again. There he is. He's back.
All right, you
Can
should
you
be
hear me?
good. Yes, there we go.
Yes.
I had to re-give you permissions to enter this room.
I gotta change my name just where it says Golden Leaf Phone, so that way you guys always know.
That's fair enough.
I don't know if that's like possible.
Yeah, I could change my
Yeah.
my server name. Yeah, I could just change it where I could have a little nickname in the server.
I changed my whole Discord name. I'm no longer Fago.
That's true, dude. How am I supposed to know whether or not you are a Fago?
I mean, you could just ask me, But the answer is yes.
Anyways, how y'all doing today?
Good, man. Good.
I'm a year older, bruh.
Yeah, he looks it too.
No,
He does?
actually, I got a haircut. Now I look 10 years younger.
Got your ears lowered, eh? That's kind of cool.
Yeah, dude, I took it way down too. I took it almost to the skin.
Ooh,
Oh,
damn, dude. Did you do it
no, do you
yourself, or do you
feel?
go to a place?
I just go to the nearest fucking place. Just walk in wherever they got a chair for me. I typically don't go to barbershops because, like, I'm introverted and, like, I definitely don't go to those places where they want to, like, massage you and fucking put shit on your face. Like,
Yeah.
don't touch me, bro. Just cut my hair. Like,
See, I just started doing it on my own. I've got like a
what?
trimmer thing. I was like, "Brr, I don't give a shit. I wear a hat all the time. Like, what do I give a shit what my hair looks like? I mean, it looks
Jesus
fine.
Christ.
I mean, it looks fine. Like, I don't fuck it
Ah,
up or anything. But it's just, I'll just
can't
make
be
it shorter.
serious. No shit.
Not only midget do you feel 10 years younger, but you already probably feel 5 pounds lighter of all that hair that you lost.
Honestly,
same
dude,
year.
it's a problem because, like, it's only a problem because I only get a haircut every couple of months. Like, I always get the same haircut. And, like, it's kind of funny because every time I sit in the chair, I'm like, I want the same haircut I got 6 months ago. Like, let's take it down. Like, all the way down. It just looks better, it feels better, and then I just get lazy about it. I never go back.
Well, the good thing is I could talk to you guys for a little bit because I'm not really needed much at the office. I'm at my one work site that I told you guys about.
The
I'm
fucking food plant. Where you at now?
I'm at the food plant still. It's just I'm at the parking lot because it's good connection, but I can be away
Right,
from the office because there's a
outside.
new guy there.
Just
New
So
hopefully it doesn't catch fire. Yeah, I heard that's been going around.
Yeah, dude, I'll bet you the new guy is in on it. Like, he's there so as to facilitate.
Right, new guy's the
Right.
Fed. New guy is always the Fed.
mole. Yeah, new guy's the Fed, dude. He's the glowy.
Yeah, you can never trust the new guy.
It's us.
But other than that, I'm guessing you guys heard about it for a second, then didn't hear about it because it went away real quick. That shooting at
Unbelievable.
that Indiana mall.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude. I'm stoked on it, dude. Like some 22-year-old. Fuck yeah, why not? Why not? Go
From what
ahead, bro.
the
Like, fuck yeah.
Dude, this dude's a fucking hero because from what I heard when the police were doing like their press, um, apparently the dude like as he was shooting at the mass shooter was like waving his hand to tell people to go by him, like go behind him, basically covering them.
Well, I mean, get out of the line of fire.
Yeah. That
I'm
too.
trying to
Well, no, it
shoot
wasn't that.
at that
It
nigga.
was more he was telling people to go towards the exits, like he was covering them as he was fucking dumping rounds in the shooter.
Good. Well, good. Let's see here. Hold on a second.
I think it's interesting because like I read like the local news and they're saying this dude had no military experience, no police experience, and under the new constitutional law, he doesn't have a permit.
Doesn't need a permit though.
I know, but the local news was I don't know if they were just doing that just to report that or just make it sound like they were trying to see have the Good Samaritan also look somewhat bad because he didn't follow the law, like he didn't have a permit or whatever.
But you're right. But he did follow the law. Yeah, they're just trying to be. You think they're trying to be? I don't know, dishonest with it.
Yeah, because it was a good guy with a gun who stopped a mass shooter.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm
definitely like against the fucking agenda.
Right. We don't do that.
like
Right?
the
You don't
shooting.
intervene in ma tragedy, ma gun violence.
li- Literally, the shooting started at 5:56 and it ended at 5:58 when the dude switched the shooter's off lights off.
Yeah, he hit the off switch, dude. Good for him though. That's what I'm talking about, dude. Like he was there. He was prepared. It could have been anyone. I mean, it could have been anybody. It happened to be him. Good for him. Fuck
Yeah,
yeah. Like that's why I practice like I do. It's because like um uh there he is. All right, Patrick's is in, so we can bring him in just a moment.
Yeah.
Uh
Yeah. We'll let Golden Leaf finish up.
so
yeah,
anyway, yeah, dude, you're absolutely right. Like it could have been anyone, but it was him. And that's why I practice like I do because like I see shit like this. I can't stand the thought of not being able to fucking respond or at
Yeah.
least
I
like defend myself or like not be able to intervene in such a way like I want to be good at it so as to fucking not have to worry.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
100%.
I mean I try to tell my mom that my mom will like sometimes if I'm going out shopping like she's with me, like she'll see that I have my concealed on me. She's like, "Why do you have that?" I'm like, "Because it's the world."
Right.
That's all I gotta
Yeah.
say. It's like there's stupid people out here.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
all.
statistically speaking, you're extremely unlikely to ever use your carry weapon, but I mean,
Well, what
fuck,
happens if the one day where I decide not to bring it, and that's when all the bad shit happens?
usually.
Right.
So I try to practice with it too, just because practice makes perfect, and just getting used to it and everything.
Yeah,
Because
dude, definitely.
I mean, just take the example of what happened in this mall. It was just a dude and his girlfriend going shopping, probably a normal day for them when this happened. It was just lucky that the boyfriend was able to pull out his piece and kill the shooter. I mean, it's
Exactly,
unfortunate
dude.
that 3 people died, but
More could
it could have
have.
been a lot
Right.
worse.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It could have lasted 8 minutes instead of 3. Like, and in 8 minutes, he had plenty of ammunition on him, didn't he? He
They
was
said he
ready
had
to rock.
100 rounds.
So he had
Like,
like 3.5 mags. Like, he had like
yeah,
3 mags.
it's like the dude. I'm more curious of what the hell this shooter was doing because, like, around like 4:50, he went to the bathroom and then didn't come out until an hour later. They said they found his cell phone in the toilet and like he had other stuff in the bathroom. And
Huh.
Huh.
apparently, when the cops raided his apartment, I'm thinking he was going to try to set his house on fire because he had like something in the stove that would have exploded and caught fire.
Interesting. Well, fuck him. He's dead now. Who
Yeah.
cares? Like,
And
seriously, I guess, as Katie's pointing out, like, yeah, the kid did fucking have to watch a man die, but, like, dude, it's one of those things, man. And unironically, I want it to be more common.
I
Like,
want it to where at least almost everyone is concealed carrying. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
that's
Like I
okay.
don't.
I'm not with the debate between do I want to openly carry or concealed carry. Like, I don't care. And I get the arguments for both sides, but
Yeah.
like, I guess you're right, Leaf, in that like if everyone is carrying but inauspiciously or like inconspicuously, then yeah, man, it just I don't know. Just there you
So
are, right there with it
right.
when you need it.
So the argument is like the more guns that are around, the risk, the cost of violence is increased.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
cost ought to be high.
because now you have to realize. Let's say if you're a bad guy, you want to do harm, and it's like, well, all right. Let's say I kill a couple of people, but then I'm just gonna be riddled with bullets. It's the same thing with what happened in Texas with that one churchgoer. The dude literally blasted one person with a shotgun. He couldn't
Yeah.
get to the second person before he just dropped because he got headshotted from across the church.
Right. Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but yeah, exactly. I mean, for every gun
And I
that's around, the cost of violence is increased. I mean,
and
it's a perfectly logical thing to come to.
and I remember hearing that people are like, "Oh, why does this person have a gun at church?" Well, with all the anti-religious sentiment and how crazy people are getting, I wouldn't look twice at some people who would try to go after a church.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, not only that, but like, I mean, I don't know how many people. I mean, I know a lot of our people in the audience are religious, but like, I don't know how many of them would go to church every week. But do you not go to, like IHOP or something like that after church? Right. So I mean, now you're out in the world again, not just in the church. So of course you're gonna
Yeah,
carry. If you carry, like,
yeah,
of course you are.
it's gonna be there with you when you get where you're going.
Right.
I mean, I get used to carrying wherever I go. I mean, that's even if I'm going just to get milk across the street, I'm gonna carry
Yeah.
because I'm just need to get used to it. It's just something that I need to train with, get used to, and then hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully
Jeez,
never have to use it.
Well, like, it's the same thing as you get used to bringing it with you because you're checking. Okay, I got my keys, I got my phone, I got my wallet, I got my
Got
concealed
my
carry.
gun.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like the things that you bring with you when you leave the house.
Yeah, and I want to get
those
used to doing
principles
that. So,
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, now with just ammo prices and shit going up, I want to keep going to the range, though. That's getting more and more strenuous.
Well, so what I
Yeah,
did was
jeez.
I would go to the range and I would buy like a box or two boxes of 50, so either 50 or 100 rounds. Put those through and then leave. Like it's not as much as you would want, but it doesn't break the bank.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
it's
doesn't
usually
break the
really
bank, and at
tricky.
least it trains you.
And you've got the good ammo at the house. You're not spending your good ammo. You're spending shitty range ammo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not wasting the hollow points.
no,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And
At
the
But they
least
hollow
it's
are
points
they,
will
exactly
tell
they
you
are
six.
fun to shoot
substance.
stuff with every once in a while. They really
Yeah.
are.
No, I spent
I
exactly
mean,
six at the range when I went to go see with you. When I went with you, midget, and Air
Yeah.
Wars. Yeah, I spent exactly six hollow points. That was it. The rest of it was trash
the
ammo.
the thing, well, my pistol, it's a Canic. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it.
Janik.
Canic.
Janik, dude.
No, it's
It's
not
Turkish.
Janet. Canic.
Oh god. Oh god.
but
Nerds.
but it is a
Yeah, you
it's a
got
nice
Turk.
little pistol I got, like about 550 just about, but it's pretty good. I've shot with it a couple of times, and the other thing too is an 18 plus one.
Oh, that's
So
good.
it's
So
not a compact. Like,
no, it's not.
no, it's
I
not.
use
No,
it
it's a
for work.
surface pistol. Yeah, it's
Let's
a
just say
surface.
that I use that pistol I'm using. I also use it for my arm security.
Yeah, so it's good to be familiar with your service weapon.
for sure.
Yes.
Especially then, yeah.
Yeah.
Katie's
So,
like, Katie likes to shoot.
Yeah,
See,
she said we should go to a range together. That would be cool.
Patrick and I were talking about this earlier today.
Maybe we can
yeah,
all
it's
meet
just
up in Jacksonville, since it's like halfway between me and Katie.
all.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not really halfway to you,
So
uh,
yeah,
but yeah,
Nah, dude, it's
it's a
it's
little
I'm
further
in the
farther.
away.
great. I'm in the great state that cannot be named because it doesn't exist to some people.
Might as well.
Well, it's either a state that doesn't exist or it's a state that's going to take everything over. You just don't know it.
I've been there once. It was all right.
Well, it depends on where you go.
Yeah, I went to Cincinnati and Columbus, and then
Oh, oh.
somewhere else that was like in the middle of the country. Uh,
You run
where
into a
we
lot of Amish.
No, we didn't run into any Amish. We just went there to buy illegal substances.
Well,
An awful long
well,
way to
actually,
go.
no.
Yeah, it was. It
Amish
was a
is more.
long trip.
Amish is more towards the Ohio PA border. They're sort of
Okay, it's like
over there. But if you
gotcha.
ever are craving for an Amish donut, dude, highly recommend it.
I kind of want to just go chill with the Amish.
They are pretty decent people. I mean, I've seen them every now and then when I did security at like some places. So
Yeah,
well, they're cool, very hardworking people.
yeah, that's what I've heard.
Except for if they get drunk and horse behind whatever they do.
Yeah,
Like that one video with the with the horse like slowly ran into the cop car. Just the cop
right.
yelling, "Stop your horse! Stop your horse!" Dude,
That
if
was
I was
so
a
funny to
cop there and
me.
I saw that, I would just yell, "Hold your horses!"
It happens, bro. It happens.
It does.
Yeah, dude.
Well, because the Amish have, because the thing is, the Amish they don't believe in photo IDs, so you usually get a regular ID with no photo, and they
Really?
always try to go to liquor stores and get alcohol, even if they're underage.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, okay. Katie found the thing that I was looking for. Yeah, because that's what happened to it. I set it on the railing of the porch, and that was the last time I saw it.
Oh, dude, no way! You lost it over there. Oh my god.
Yeah, I did. Well, I thought I had just assumed, but of course, no one else was around when I was using it, so who would have picked it up?
Well,
Right.
Yeah, it fell on the ground. All right.
well, gentlemen, I'm gonna get going here. I gotta not really
Yeah,
train a new
dude,
guy.
get
I'm
back
just
to
gonna talk
work.
with a new guy and
All right, man.
keep an eye out for planes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, for real. Yeah, man. All right, it was good talking to you, man. I guess we will talk to you next week
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
if
I'll
you're
try
able
to get
to.
on next week. Hopefully, I won't be back here at this site. I'll be back at my normal site where I can talk normally.
Right
Cool.
on, dude.
Sounds good, man.
Take care, gentlemen.
All right, see ya. All right, let's
Cool.
pull Mr. Patrick in. All right, Patrick, you're on the air. What is up?
Is he with us?
I don't know.
Well, let's wait for a minute for him to join us. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm with that. Hey, dude, he and I talking about this earlier, like gun culture and stuff. Uh, he is of European heritage and has still family over there, and so we were talking about like he might not necessarily want to stay in the U.S. I said, well, I don't blame you.
Oh,
He's
no.
like, well, you probably wouldn't like it so much because guns. I was like, yeah, fucking fair point, dude. Fair fucking point.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
suppose.
all kinds of crazy fucking gun laws over there. Germany, you have to keep the ammunition in a safe separately from your registered firearm, which is in another safe. And like, you can't bring it anywhere unless you like tell the police you're transporting it first.
They give you
And like,
like they give you like an escort, like a police escort
I don't know,
with like,
but they want like if they somehow catch you with it, and you haven't declared that you're traveling with it, then
right.
that's when you get into trouble. So yeah, unlawful possession of firearms and whatnot, as if
That's super unfortunate.
yeah, and so that is definitely a big drawback. of all the benefits we were discussing, especially because I mean, at least in some of those, as he is, Eastern European nations, like there's still a bulwark against, you know, globo homo. There are still places that are comfy and based.
Yeah, that does sound cool. I like when,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, some Eastern European countries would be cool. Especially if you got some money, like some American money. I mean, um, shit's got to be like land's got to be cheap. You would think. I don't know. I
um,
could be wrong about that.
right, yeah, exactly. Where like um, if you have American skills, then you can probably find good work over there. Um, especially if you're, because um, it says he can't hear us. I wonder if he's got his settings set correctly.
I imagine not, 'cause we cannot hear
Um,
him either.
all right, yeah.
It doesn't
I mean,
show
if
him
he's
muted here, so
okay, I'll keep chatting with him. Anyway,
again, people can't use technology, man.
um, so obviously there are a lot of advantages, um, but there are a lot of drawbacks.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Because
you got to
there
live
are
in the
parts of
EU for
America
one.
that are like rural and comfy, yeah, and then you got to be in part of the EU. We'll see
That's
how
yeah.
well. How, um. Okay, hold on a sec. Yeah, you gotta live by their rules, which is goddamn like oppressive as fuck and super undemocratic and not at
Well, that's
all.
based.
All right.
I'm pretty
Let's.
anti-democratic myself.
I suppose, but I mean, like it's a super state, that's not beholden at all to its constituents.
Yeah, I mean,
So it's like the opposite of the Republican ideal.
for the Republican ideal, yeah, but that's kind of how the United States is. It's a little, obviously, much more different because we don't have the history of, subjugation and oppression and tyranny as most of the European countries do. So we're not really like used to that. Kind of have this spirit, this like unique spirit of independence and uh, self determination and things like that. We're not crushed like those Europores are. So
Yeah, and so that is definitely a see, I'm different methods. Um, he's using his phone, which ought to work.
okay, so when people use phones and then you drag them in, it doesn't usually work. So let me tell him I'm going to kick him out. I'm going to give him permission to join the voice channel, and then have him just jump back in himself. If I drag him, it won't work if he's on his phone.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, that's why I had to give um,
I see.
give
Yeah.
Golden Leaf his permission. Then I have to give Katie Zed permission when she comes in. It's a thing. All right, let me give him some permissions right quick. A little on air fixie. What's its? Sh- wait, how do I fucking forget how I did this?
You just did it.
Well, yeah, but he's already on the little list for like people who can
Oh,
be accept. Yeah, Patrick is not. Oh, here we go. I think I gotta do it. I gotta do it this way. Okay, I'll get him in a second. Hang on. I figured it out. I'm smart.
I hope so.
There he is. Rat bastard. I'm just kidding. I don't know him like that. There we go. Okay. Now, 1 second. Now he can connect. So have him join in again.
Okay, let's see if that works. Is he with us now?
Yep, I hear you guys.
There we
Awesome.
go. Sorry about
Right
that.
on. Thank you very much for joining us. I know I've been harassing you for a while.
Oh, it's fine.
Thank you, dude. So, yes, please, let's get back to what we were talking about earlier, Patrick, because it was not necessarily Europe and guns and stuff, but I mean like, god damn, man, you said like you had been reading recently, and that's definitely cool. We were talking about all kinds of fucking stuff.
Well, what are you reading?
I was reading Ted Kaczynski's Industrial Society and Its Future.
Hell yeah.
You know, Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber.
Yep. I'm very familiar
Of
with Ted
Unabomber
Kaczynski. Yeah.
fame. Of
Yeah.
Unabomber fame.
That's right, dude.
Um, oh yeah, but aside from that, so he works in the field and as for a living, so he spends a lot of time in nature, which is pretty nice.
That is pretty sweet.
Well, well, it has its ups and downs, but it sure beats sitting in an office all day, becoming what some of my friends term office plankton.
Yeah.
Plankton, yeah, tell me about it, dude. Yeah, that's real shit. Do they work in call centers and shit too? Oh god.
Mm.
Oh, please. Call centers? There are no call centers in the US anymore. Those are all in India now, or at the
There's
very
still
least.
a few. Oh yeah.
True.
But the one I'm thinking about in particular is probably closed. You're right about that. Yeah, so what else? Dude, shit, most of my time is in an office, but not today, bro. I got fucking rained on. Yeah. Yeah, Florida, dude. It rained for like half an hour really fucking hard, and then it stopped, and then for like an hour or two, and then it rained really fucking hard for like a half an hour, and then it stopped. And it rained a little bit.
It was basically the same situation in my neck of New Jersey today, especially since
Really?
I was working close to New York City today.
Yeah, you said you were going upstate recently.
Yeah, a lot of the work that my company is doing right now has been up in North Jersey because apparently my company is planning to move its headquarters and getting more offices up in the northern part of the state.
You can see that. Sorry about that. Hold on.
No problem.
I mean, I'll still have my job. It's just that, well, it's not going to change much of my routine for me, except making my commute to the office a little more of a pain.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Um,
And then again, most of my job is already quite remote. Like, I use Microsoft Office and OneDrive. I get my assignments on OneDrive, and then I just meet the crew chief on site.
okay, yeah.
It
That's
is
cool.
actually pretty nice that you can do that, that you just get the assignment and can leave from where you are to where you need to be instead of like going to the office first.
Oh, yeah. That's what I had to do when I was doing carpet. Um,
Yeah, you had to go to
but I mean, luckily
the
it was,
place and then go from there to the
yeah.
job site.
I mean, luckily it was within not just walking distance, but like seeing distance from where I was staying at the time. So that was pretty sweet.
Yeah, dude, Patrick, let me tell you, man, that's how me and John got up. Is
Yeah.
like we were staying in that fucking place, and wasn't it? It was like a flop house,
Oh my
man.
god, it was so bad.
There was like 10 of us staying there at one time. I swear to God.
It wasn't 10, but it was not. I mean, it was not
It was
far off. It
fucking
was.
close. It was like 6 to 8 at maximum at one time.
I mean, not counting the people who would crash after getting fucked up. No, it was. It was four of us. Right, you weren't there when Phil was staying on the couch.
Right.
So I think it was four of us and at a two-bedroom house. So like we were doubled up in the bedrooms. Uh, and then yeah,
And then on
sometimes there'd be a guy
your
on the couch,
yeah.
depending on the week or whatever. Yeah, and then of course later
So
on there became more. Yeah, It was a high turnover rate at that house.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. Simultaneously, some of the best and worst times of my life were there.
I
It's
wouldn't take
crazy.
it back. If it weren't
Right.
for that, I wouldn't be where I'm at, dude. For real.
Exactly, dude. 100%. Yeah.
Huh. So that's that shit, man. I went from at that time like full on Bernie bro to where I'm at now, which is like fuck all that, fuck everything, leave me alone,
Same.
fuck authoritarians, like stop with your controlling of my decision making, and like no, I don't take my money. Fuck,
Yeah.
stop taking all my money and
I
giving it
mean,
away to useless fucking. Oh, that's
Let's
our
see.
culture, though. It's different than ideology. It's different. It's separate from like ideology and practice is never fucking the same.
That's 100% true. But it is kind of culture informing ideology, wouldn't you think? Or is it the other way around? I
Which
mean,
is
it's like a chicken and
downstream
the egg
of
situation. Yeah.
which is downstream of the other. Politics is downstream of culture, and but where's philosophy stand in that?
Hmm. I mean, I think
I
philosophy comes
honestly,
first.
I honestly don't think that philosophy has really much of a. I mean,
Much
the way I look
sway.
at it, the way I look at it is, if the Democrats actually practiced what they preached, well,
I
they would
wonder,
be
dude.
Democrats.
Well, can we think of a specific example? Because I think if Democrats practice what they preach, like this place would go to hell real quick.
Well, I mean, if you mean like were they actually consistent in their philosophy or their ideology, at least their perceived or spoken ideology, because we know they're
Well,
not, right?
exactly
Like,
that. Well, yes, exactly that. Whenever a Democrat comes into power, I just, and after a period of a few years, I realized, you know what? They
Nothing.
didn't markedly improve my life. My life is
Yeah.
still basically the same as if a Republican was in office. Not much has really changed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah, they don't do terribly a lot. Um, I mean, they
Oh,
do in some ways. Obviously their policies will affect things like gas prices. Which does not purely fall on Democrats. But they certainly have exacerbated the situation since. Um,
well, you kind of notice that pattern, and after a while, you realize, holy shit, these people aren't here to, get anything done or do anything.
They're only
Um,
they're only in it to enrich themselves. That's
I
it.
don't I don't know what has taken so long for people to realize this or for how long this has been going on. Like surely there was a time before our lives wherein like this sort of thing was more or less under control, right? Like I guess corruption is ever,
yeah,
present, but I mean, but goddamn, this level of corporatism, I think this hits on Patrick something you mentioned for 60 years or so. I think that's about a good time frame. I mean, that's at least the frame of reference of history that I have available to me. But like,
yeah,
seriously, man, there must have been a time before this where this was not the case. Like, our government has been captured by large corporations, and now the two work to serve each other. And the interest of the voter is not central at all. And what you see instead is like the interest of all of these various groups being put forward, but only as a charade, like
oh
only
yeah,
as like a premise, and behind the scenes, it's really just about their personal enrichment.
yeah. No,
I mean, it's not
absolutely.
even behind the scenes anymore.
It's not. The mask is fucking off, and people are voting for it, and they love it. And it's like, and that's why I
Yeah,
went when they tore the mask off and they cheated Bernie, and then lied about it, and then killed Seth Rich. I just lost my shit. I was no longer with it,
yeah,
and so I was Trump for like the sake of destruction. And then I realized, holy fuck, this guy did good things, and like I'm with it now, and he pisses them off And I realized like people who are blue no matter who went along with it because they have no principle. It's about money and power and influence. That's it. Like
Yeah.
it's not about philosophy, or it's like you said, philosophy has no sway. It's not about philosophy or principles. It's not about the ideology even. It's not even about what these people say they believe. Oh God, me and Villius were talking about this yesterday. Exactly this is that people. Um, let's pull him in too.
He's not over here.
Well, actually, there is something that underpins this lack of any kind of cultural cohesion or any kind of philosophical consistency among either political side, and that is postmodernism, where
Yeah.
they there is no object. Well, they basically treat everything like, oh, everything is morally relative, or there is no objective right and wrong. And I'm like, first
Right.
of all, I'm
Or
like,
that
first of all,
or that
There
there's anything objective whatsoever. That's the
that it
thing is like
even
truth
exists.
itself. Like truth and morality are different things, and they don't believe that either of them are objective, and that's a
which
huge issue.
which is patently batshit insane.
You know,
Like,
there
Right.
was a time. There was a time I remember distinctly in college being introduced to postmodernism by like a roommate of this girl that I liked. Um, she was really out there as a person, real nice person, you know, but definitely like she was eccentric, you'll say. Really cute, but like kind of crazy. Um anyway, like into fan fiction, that sort of thing. So she introduced me, she gave me this book by Terry Pratchett. And I was like, "Oh, okay. So nothing is, as you said, nothing is meaningful or has, you know, a true purpose or fixed meaning in reality. That's
Yeah.
kind of odd. But there was a time at which I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm down for that. You know, you do you, and I'll be over here with like, you know, I was a fedora tipping, you know, fucking fedora tipping anti-theist at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, god damn, I hated God, didn't I? And
Yeah. No, I
so
mean, I was the same way, dude. I mean, you grow
and
out, hopefully
so
grow
there
out
was
of
a
it.
time at which I was all about it. I was like, but at the same time, in my heart, I knew there something was, and I guess that was my truth, but like an objective fucking truth, right? Like that science could lead us to understand, right? The disciplined observation and, you know, controlled study of phenomena will lead us to the understanding of our universe, right? That's pretty straightforward. But these people don't even believe that you can do that objectively, right? That's not possible. Well, I'm sorry, but there's got to be a way. So,
well, here there actually science has basically addressed that question. Have you ever heard of something called an unfalsifiable hypothesis?
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
for example, the existence of God. Like, because there is no scientifically valid way to prove or disprove that God exists. Therefore, the claim that God exists is unfalsifiable. Therefore, it's
Right.
not scientific whatsoever.
well, and I guess that's what faith is about is you have to be okay with that. Because I also you have to agree like there are going to be things that you know, for a long time are not going to be known to us.
Yeah.
Like we have to have faith that those things are so that they are the way they are and for a reason. Otherwise, you know, nothing else follows. Like otherwise nothing else we already know is true for the same reason, right? Just for the sake that it is true. We have to understand that there are things that we don't and can't know, and quite possibly can't even perceive about the universe, extra dimensional, you know, forms of communication and travel, right? Like we might awaken psychically some distant future, right? But right now, that aspect of the universe does not exist. We have to have a degree of faith in ourselves and the universe and something more meaningful than the nihilism of life. Otherwise, like you see people who can't maintain the discipline required to get through the struggle that is life.
Well, see, I like that you brought up nihilism there because I mean I liked nihilism for a little while, enough at least to gain kind of an understanding of it more than like just a layman, and it doesn't really like it's very misconstrued often, where people are like, oh well, life nothing has meaning, so what's the point of doing anything or whatever. Where it's really about like creating meaning for yourself rather than trying to submit to some kind of meaning that's brought to you by someone else. Um, so yeah, I mean, it is kind of about what do you want to see. It's just like that one stupid like Hallmark expression, "Be the change you want to see in the world." Like, yeah, it's corny, but it's also true, and it's
Yeah,
also
well,
nihilistic, even though it's a positive thing. It's
is it
just
nihilistic though by the real definition of what you're trying to say it is? But like, I mean to say, like, otherwise that is the root of personal responsibility. Though it's
yeah,
like rather than giving up the responsibility of changing circumstances to some other entity,
right. That's what I'm saying.
to
Nihilism was,
a
yeah, it's
I
coming up with the
see.
meaning on your own. Um,
Yeah,
so that's what being the change that you want to see in the world. The way that you act will affect other people, and it will either make them act the same way if it's a good way to act, or it'll make them avoid that way of acting if it's not a good way to act. You're affecting the world around you, through how you're behaving. You're either being the change you want to see in the world, or you're stopping people from doing the same things you would be doing. You're giving
Jesus.
meaning to life, essentially.
Talk about stopping people from doing things and then projecting. Yeah,
Right.
God, yeah. Just talk about that shit. Can we bring in Vilius? He's ready to run, I think. He not
I
here.
don't see him in here. I don't see him in the general chat.
He's not in general. He's on his phone as well, so you'll have to do the thing.
Oh, okay.
Uh, the way
Yeah.
I look, I mean, the way I see it is the whole idea of be the change you want to see in the world. I mean, it's definitely a nice sentiment, but honestly, and based on my personal experience, that doesn't go very far. Because if you live in a
Yeah.
system or an environment that is outside of your control and that shapes how other people behave
Yeah.
or how things are done, you're going to have to be forced to adapt in order to survive.
Yep. I'm with you, dude.
I mean, sure, but
100%.
like, so hang on, because like every great man throughout all of history has done exactly that. Has been the change that I want to see and made it happen. Whether it was for good or for
Although they,
bad, is completely different.
Yeah.
Um,
well,
but you can
they
affect a
didn't.
lot more around you than just you or just a few people around you.
I mean, no great man has accomplished his feats alone.
Of
I
course not.
mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, of course not.
But that's the thing about
That's the
being
point of influence, right? I mean, that's
visionary. Yeah, a visionary. I mean, those are few and far between. Not everyone needs to be a visionary. I mean, there's also no need to be demoralized by the feeling that you can't really
right.
affect those around you. Sure, you can
Exactly.
adapt, and I do feel bad for, Africans surrounded by Africans, for instance, like where their whole environment is shitty, and that's because of their whole culture has encourage shittiness, and that's why people treat each other shitty, and like there's no you're kind of trapped in that, right? And like there's
It's tough
no
to break that
you can
cycle.
it's super tough because but that's why it requires that discipline. I mean, life is struggle for everyone and everything all the time,
Yeah.
constantly. So the society we live in a society, as you so eloquently pointed out, And so, like, the one that we want to make is the one where we all behave, respectably. And so that starts by taking personal responsibility to behave
Mhm.
respectably. And so, I mean, it all comes back cyclically to that in a way. Like, sure, like, you're surrounded by savages, fine. And, like, there's not a lot you have to adapt. But you can at least, this is why private property is fundamentally important and a human right. Like, it must be understood that men need a place that is theirs. Otherwise, we might as well just die,
Well, it
right?
goes past that. I mean, private property is the foundation of all human rights. You cannot have
Right.
human rights without private property rights. And I'm not just talking about you can own your house or whatever. I'm talking about private property rights starts with your own body and extends from there.
Well, there you are. There you are. Yeah, your own body and those things that your body can make for you.
Right.
I
So
mean,
the things that
and
you make
then
with your body are by extension yours. And so that is the essential. When if you start homesteading a piece of land, that is yours because you have made it with your own body. Like
so
so,
we're
the
not
property
in
rights extend
disagreement,
to
Patrick,
right.
when we say like the fruit of one's labor is his own. Like we're not like the workers should absolutely own and control their labor. It's just whether you want to live in a system where they can be told where their labor goes or and they own part of that industry or they can trade their labor for things
Yeah.
in our particular system funny money promissory notes. But be that as it may, they're just little symbols. It's the symbol of trade. And so
Well,
it
yeah. So the
literally
money is
has
just a store of value. It's a store of your labor.
it's a promise of a store of value.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. In theory, we're talking about theory. We're not talking about what the practical,
Yeah.
how it's
Okay.
actually
Yeah.
used. Where you can just
What we
print
currently
off as
have.
much as
Yeah.
you want and fuck everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
Yeah. For sure.
Talk about the actual theory of money. It's so you don't have to cut the chicken in half, right? Like it's just a store of value.
That's
Hmm.
funny.
What really strikes me is how you guys define private property. I mean, it
Hmm.
sounds it just sounds eerily similar to how Marx described it.
Is
At
that
least,
right? I
I
haven't
mean,
read him. I mean, John has labored through a lot of that.
I have. It's been a while though.
although in with respect to John, Marx defines pri- private property as the land, the factories, the machines that are used to produce
Right.
capital.
The difference between personal and private property, right?
Well, Marx tended to pers- define it as private property, as in the bourgeois sense of factories, farmland, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Right.
The means of production. What you're
Right.
describing is bodily autonomy and its extension, your labor. Your labor is a product of your bodily autonomy. Is
Yes.
that so? Yeah, it sounds eerily like Marx, but it's just expanded upon, really.
Well,
Pretty much.
I think there's
It's
a
not
big
like we're in disagreement here, really.
yeah. I mean, this is true, but I think we're in disagreement about
What that implies. Yeah.
making a making an arrangement with somebody else in exchange for your labor, right? As opposed to where Marx would say more like, the workers being exploited for his labor, which in his time, I'm not going to say is 100% false because I do think that he had a lot of good diagnosis when it came to problems of his time. I don't think his solutions are altogether that great, but I do think that his
Well,
diagnosis are sometimes on point, and one of those is people being exploited at the time. But if we're talking about like what I believe, it would be like you exchanging your labor for someone else is you making a voluntary contract, and I would have no issue with that whatsoever, especially if you're free to leave at any time.
Especially if your leave financially ruin you or cause you to starve to death.
Well, that's always a risk, isn't it? Because like if you don't work anywhere else ever, then you would have did that before your gainful
Right.
employment.
Yeah, I mean if you don't work at all, I mean that's just nature. It's not even that's not capitalism, that's not
Yeah,
communism, that's
it's
nature.
really
If you don't
not
work, you die.
philosophy oriented either. Like if you were alone, naked on an island, and you did nothing, you would die.
Right, you would starve. You
It's
would
that
well, you'd
simple.
probably dehydrate first and die of,
Yeah,
dehydration.
and then die.
But anyway, yeah, you would still like nature is the same. It's not like one system that does it and the other system doesn't.
Yeah,
Like
it's
you work or you die. That's nature, that's life. For everyone
and
and
Marx said the
everything that
same
has ever
thing.
lived.
Like, let he who works, let he who doesn't work, starve. It is what it
Well,
is.
well, the thing is, you can't really compare nature with an economic system like capitalism because capitalism does not really exist in nature. In nature, it's basically eat or be eaten, survive or die. Whereas,
Well,
whereas
in nature, say it's
the goal of
you
capitalism is to the goal of capitalism really is profit. So,
profit. Yeah.
Okay,
so
yeah.
how are you under such a system where your condition of employment basically determines how well you live in life? You are basically your livelihood, your life is literally controlled by your boss or
So
or whatever.
right.
So how truly free are you in a capitalist society where your boss stands to benefit the most from
I've got an answer
underpaying
for
you and
this.
overworking you?
I've got
Right.
an answer
So
for this. I've got an
okay,
answer for this.
if you want to go, you can.
Yeah.
I've got a response. I don't necessarily have an
All
answer,
right.
but I
Go
do have a
ahead. Yeah, go
response.
ahead.
So I'm guessing you're going to go by the Marx's definition of capitalism. Is that right? Is that fair
I
to say?
mean, yes,
Okay.
yes,
Well,
that is
okay.
exactly it.
Before you respond, then let me say I do have an answer for that. The answer is the incentive provided by the value of that worker is very high and it's being exploited. Well, that worker should become his own boss. He should make his own, again, he should work for then himself. He's incentivized in the capitalist system to exceed his boss, even if he had a grudge or if whether or not he did, it doesn't matter. Like the answer to that would be if the worker is truly valuable and being exploited, they should be free to create their own business and work for themselves so that their very labor does every day belong to themselves. That
Yeah.
would be the goal. That would be like incentivize, unlike our current corporate culture, which is captured by, thank you, Villius, welcome, by our corporate overlords, like who pay our politicians to keep them on top. Okay, to keep funneling benefits into the pockets of Walmart and J.P. Morgan is the chief beneficiary of EBT. So like that's what it's about right now. But in a truly free capitalist system where the worker is exploited, that worker ought to be free to move out of that arrangement and make one, if he's truly capable, that it will benefit exclusively himself and his family. That would be my answer to that question.
Right. I mean, I think that's a good answer. Um, but
So essentially,
I would refrain from using
so
the word
essentially,
capitalism and that saying that I don't promote Marx's definition of capitalism. Like I don't advocate for Marx's definition of capitalism.
Yeah.
I advocate for a truly free market, free of government interference, um, which people are incentivized, like Midget was saying, to work for themselves if possible, and or if they're capable of doing so. And if not, I mean, there's always going to be extremely low skilled, you know, um, lack of a better word, low IQ people who need to work as well, and
Yeah,
they
and
who would
no need to
otherwise
worry.
die. And
Mhm.
so, if you want to say they're being exploited, you might be right. I mean, I can give you something there. You might be right, but they're surviving, whereas another place, in another system, they would not.
Yeah, they would just be
So
left behind.
I think that, yeah, I mean, I think providing as much incentive for people, and I think that's the core of human motivation is incentive, right?
I
You have an
agree, and I
incentive to
think
do things, you have an incentive to not do things, and you act accordingly.
in nature, if it's just two guys naked on an island, they can either choose to cooperate, I guess. They could incentivize, obviously, say they're both weak and starving, they don't want to fight, so they have to come to terms, right? And so that through that means they form a relationship, and when they both become bigger and stronger, they don't have to kill each other. They can come to an arrangement.
Well, they have an
So
incentive to work
they have an
together
incentive,
because it
right, to work
makes
together.
right, it makes their lives easier each. They can each provide things that the other person couldn't. They have skills that the other person doesn't, right? It's a lot easier to hunt with two people than it is with one, or one getting water while the other one hunts. Like there's an incentive to work together more than there is an incentive not to work together, and just in nature or in everyday life.
Our other guest here, Bilius, his parents grew up in a communist nation, and still carry that experience with them every day, don't they, dude? Is he with us?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yes.
Nice, dude. So absolutely. Very good. So yeah, it's cool. We were talking about this yesterday, you and I, weren't we, dude? Where you were on it. You were on point. You were on a rant. It was great.
All right, let me have a
Um,
piss break real quick. I'll be right back.
yeah, sure. I'll take it from here. But yeah, you recognize though that the importance of being free to we were talking about the importance of like a community or and how society is formed. It's through specialization. Like if you can't get together and come to an arrangement whereby each person with a skill focuses exclusively on that skill rather than scrabbling a living every day just for their family, then society advances. It becomes more complex and it naturally forms hierarchies based on the worth and capability of everyone of the society who contributes. It's basically feudalism, right? It's how that formed, more or less tribalism, feudalism, like, and I guess might makes right in a way, but like we that's what faith, in my opinion, is about, is like there being a law higher than that of man, that there is an ultimate truth that we can one day come to understand through discipline and respectable search for the truth. And that's why I think it's important to avoid communist ideology, because that ideology, in almost every respect or every time it is invoked, like recently, men are women, and Black Lives Matter and whatnot, all this Marxism, um, is
Well,
is is
to
is directly in contrast with reality, isn't it?
Well, in my opinion, I believe communism, socialism, Marxism, to me, integrally, they're a form of like a loser mentality, and I'm gonna expand on that because to want a regime of that or a structure of that matter, um, you basically saying I don't want to be responsible. I want to give away my responsibility of taking care of myself and expanding as far as financially or climbing the social economic ladder. I want the government to intervene in my life. So it's just, to me, it stems from people that just have a poor mentality or uneducated mentality, where they, on paper, it looks, oh, everybody gets the equal share, but you have to understand that we're not made equal. No one's equal.
That
The
that's
whole the whole women's march for equality. Not even man compared to another man is equal, and nobody's equal, you know.
Yeah.
And
So
so capitalism just sells poor, uneducated, low IQ people the false hope or a false lie, and I think a lot of people fall for it simply because they can't compete in the free market. And so they'd rather see you suffer with them than you excel because you have something to offer, or maybe you're just a hardworking person. You don't have to be the smartest
See
person.
that we
You
see
don't
that
have to
every
be
day.
you
Yeah,
don't
the
have to
cancel
be
culture.
like
what
perfect
the crab in the
example.
bucket mentality.
Yep,
Like
crabs in
perfect
the
yeah.
bucket, dude. You see
Yeah,
it every
crabs in the
day.
bucket.
So real quick, let's give Patrick a chance to respond because I don't want him to feel like we're kind of all, attacking him or anything. Because it's not like that at all. This is a friendly discussion.
Right.
So I want to give him a chance to kind of respond to some of the things that have been said. I don't want to just like dogpile or anything.
Not a problem, John. And you guys aren't really dogpiling. And I do stand by a lot of what I do stand by everything I say, even if I am wrong.
Understandable.
I respect
Well,
that.
well, you gotta, you talk about having a loser mentality in communism.
Yeah.
Okay, I will give you, okay. Now let's apply that to the current capitalist system that we have right now.
Okay.
What do you
I'm
think?
with that.
Guess what happened in 2008 when the big banks selling blatantly fraudulent mortgages that the people they were lending to could not could not hope to pay
Yeah,
back.
yeah, you're not gonna
And
find
when
any friends of that around here. Trust me.
and when their and when their scheme blew up in their face, instead of taking responsibility for it and apologizing and basically nullifying the mortgages of all of the people they screwed over, they ran to the feds with their hats in their hands saying, "Can we please have bailout
Yeah.
money?" And the
Can
federal
we
government
please have all the money?
kindly obliged.
There's no perfect society. There's no perfect structured system. There's no such thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and they are losers and they ought to lose. And
Right.
what infuriates us here is the fact that, like, we are not in a system whereby you are allowed to succeed or fail.
Well,
Like,
not only that,
the laws are in place so that we don't succeed. Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
I was gonna say not only that, but we're on the hook when they try to fail. When they almost
Yeah, it's
fail,
us.
we're on the hook for the bill. We get the bill. Right. That we're not fans of that either. Um, like I said,
So
But
let
let,
they
me see
are
if I
fucking
under, so let
losers
me see
and
if
they
I
ought to be
understand
allowed to
this
lose.
correctly. You guys want to have a system where every individual has the opportunity to succeed or fail based on the merits of their skills, knowledge, and labor.
It's pretty
Fine,
straightforward. Yeah.
I
essentially,
fine, I accept that notion. However, you also defend a system whose natural outcome over time is ever increasing monopolization and companies that become far too big to fail. For if they fail, they take the entire economy with them and thus basically destroying any opportunity for future generations to succeed and fail based on their own merits.
okay.
Well,
So
I have to concede in the monopoly thing.
I
Yes.
don't. Um,
In just a moment.
okay.
But even granting that that happens, like I uh, I have to reject that its collapse means, the end of the world. In fact,
New
I feel like the
opportunities is what it
collapse
means.
it means decentralization, which is a good thing.
So there's that. There's definitely the phoenix rising from the ashes notion. But also, I mean,
You
are you
reject
able
monopoly
to
entirely.
are you able to name a monopoly that was sustained without government intervention?
You know what? You have a point.
And
Without the
that's the point,
government.
right? Is that monopolies only exist when they're propped up artificially by government. Without government around, they are forced to actually compete. And when they compete, they fail. Why? Because they're too big, way too much bureaucracy, they get bloated, corruption is huge, and then they don't have any safety net to fall back on, and they fall.
Yeah,
And
they
the
are
competition
like
comes
that's the
along and
thing,
takes
eggs
away
in one
their
basket.
business.
Yeah, eggs in one basket, and then
Mhm.
suddenly the paradigm shifts. And and the railroad isn't as fucking profitable as it used to be,
Right. Oh yeah, the mine dries up, and now the mine isn't there. So the train station that used to go to that mining, town
that
that
you
became a
owned.
bigger
Yeah.
town is now desolate. That's what ghost towns were, right? Like
Yeah, so
monopolies
your whole
don't
company
exist
goes with those.
without government intervention. It just doesn't happen.
I'd like
Well,
to see a study
well,
done.
well, if I will give you that, monopolies, at least in the U.S.,
Well, that's fair.
did
That's fair.
do get propped up by the federal government because, well, a lot of the politicians in power had stocks in these monopolistic companies.
Right.
Oh
So
yeah.
their interests were inexplicably tied to the companies. So so naturally they'd want these monopolies to grow as big as they can and then for them to cash out once the monopoly starts crashing.
Right.
So
Well, that's happened a number of times, hasn't it? So yeah,
so let me ask
absolutely. A
you
lot of
this.
these politicians cashed out on these fucking bank shares before the crash happened. Like that was in 2008 as well. So they knew it and they know and they're in the know because they're on the take. And I guess that sort of thing is kind of inevitable if we form a government, though. Like, if we all say, you people are in charge of making our rules, like, of course it's going to attract, like, it's that.
Yeah,
How
it's gonna
would you
attract. Yeah, it's gonna attract people who want to rule. I mean, that's how
no, and
government
and I
works.
mean like bribery and corruption and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean that you can't separate the two. That's impossible. I don't care how minarchist your government is. I don't care how small it is. As soon as there's like three
someone's
people, it's a
getting
corrupt
paid.
government.
Yeah,
I
yeah. As
mean,
soon as there's three people, one of them's paying the other to like
right, to fuck over the
do
third person. Yeah, I mean,
right.
yeah.
Well, here's another question I have.
All right.
If let's say a monopoly collapsing takes the entire other economy with it, and you so the answer to this is, oh, break up the monopolies into smaller companies.
Hmm.
And then one of those smaller companies outcompetes the others and becomes a monopoly itself. Break that up, rinse and repeat over
Yeah.
and over and over again.
Well,
And you
see,
want
I
and
don't
to
think
want
you
to
need
know
to
my
break them up.
Just let them
well,
fail.
Yeah,
That's
they'll
why I
fail.
said I reject the idea that them failing is bad because in my opinion them failing is good. It's what needs to happen
Yeah,
because like that's not yeah, it's anti-competitive and it's anti-innovative and so it's stagnatory. And by nature like people if people are allowed to think and dream freely, if they're allowed to follow their interests and, develop new technology, then that it's bound to fail. Unless it like snatches up everything around it all the time, constantly. But it can't grow forever because nothing. So I'm just reasoning it out right here on the air. Like, I'm just saying, I don't think.
oh yes, Marx actually talked about something very similar called the diminishing rate of profit. As let's say as a company
Yeah,
gets
dude.
bigger, its operating costs its operating costs get and its profit margin start creeping up on its profit margins,
yeah,
and as the profit decreases, the corporation will stop becoming profitable at some point, and at
yeah.
that point it starts imploding.
He's
And you know
correct
what
about that.
Marx also talked about? One of the main drivers of profit decline is overproduction.
Yeah,
A flooding of a market. Yeah, and
that makes sense.
widgets, right? Say like you make real high quality widgets for a living and like that's how you pay your bills. Suddenly everyone who needs one has one and they last a real long time. So now who are you selling widgets for? You
Yeah,
might even keep making them. You might even keep making them and making them. Like, who's to stop you, right? There's got to be some force or some incentive not to. You'll have to use your
Or you
skills
can
on new
or you can
widgets,
make
new
your
widgets.
Or you can make your widget a subscription based. Like, in order to use my widget, you have to pay like
Yeah, you have to
$3
pay me every
every
month.
month to use it.
Yeah,
So
to
like,
use my widget.
so what we're talking about basically is like monopolies naturally breaking up, right? I mean, so like I think a great example is the biggest monopoly. I think it is the case that's ever existed. The East India Trading Company. That was gone in like the early 1800s. That's been gone for quite some time, and
But I
what
think
it
it's
did,
also the longest lasting monopoly on the planet because I think it
yeah.
lasted
Well, it was
100
paid
years.
for by the crown.
It
You know,
was
the
financed
it was
entirely
financed
by,
by the crown. So
well,
it was basically,
indirectly through the fucking Rothschilds.
well, yeah. I
Right,
mean, we
but
can
we
get
won't
into
get
like
into that.
specifics, but I'm just talking in generalities here.
Yeah.
Of yeah, it was funded directly through the crown, which of course was the government. In I
So
don't
it
think it
was
was Great
totally
Britain at the time.
subsidizing
Right,
that entire company and allowing it to giving it in fact special license, what we call regulatory capture, so that you can't ascend to that rank because you haven't
right.
compromised yourself. You
And no
haven't,
one came close to
eaten
that
enough.
size.
You
No
haven't
other
eaten
merchant
enough
company.
babies, or fucked a child on film.
But
You're not allowed.
the main point, though, is that no other company, no other merchant company came close to the East India Trading Company. In fact, some of them did, but most of them didn't get military escorts like the East India Trading Company got whenever it went to India or wherever it's going, right? Whether it's going to Mauritania or whatever, wherever it's going, right?
I
They
think the
didn't
East
get
India Trading Company had its own naval fleet and army.
kind
Yeah,
of.
it did. It
They
did
were
have
very mixed in. Because hang on, there was very. I'm glad you brought that up. I can spout my history nerdism, um, for this time.
Actually, he can
Yeah,
adjust his glasses here.
right. I gotta adjust my glasses that has like the reflection of the light.
Yes.
Um,
Bing! So glad you
so
brought that up, Patrick.
right. So yeah, they technically did. However, they were mainly uh, like poached from the Royal Navy or the Royal Marines, either one, respectively. Um, and they were usually so like say a lieutenant or a lieutenant in the Royal Navy would be what's called a half pay lieutenant, which means that they weren't at sea, they didn't have like a commission, so they would receive half of their regular pay, which is not much to live on. So they would take a job with the East India Trading Company for more pay, and of course they would snatch them right up because they've got a ton of sailing experience, they've got command experience, they're a valuable asset to pull. And then so they would pull the officers, and then when they got back, they would join a commission for the Navy. So they kind of swapped back and forth. There really wasn't much of a difference.
A lot
Um,
like a private military contractor
right, exactly,
of modern day.
exactly.
I've known a lot of Blackwater guys, and
I've known
they're
a
Oh,
all
lot
like that. Yeah.
I was just looking up similarities between the East India Trading Company and today's mercenary military contractor groups.
Yeah, for sure. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of parallels. It's there's nothing new under the sun, bro.
that's
Like,
right.
I mean, going back to your criticisms of Marx,
Yeah, sure.
the only the only
yeah, sure.
criticism the only the only real criticism I have of Marx
hmm
is that he doesn't Marx's dialectical materialism does not leave any room or even consider the psychological needs of human beings. And
Yeah,
to
it's
connect
so
back to
anti-spiritual, isn't it? It's so
Yeah,
anti-spiritual.
I mean, I think
yeah,
Kropotkin kind of fixed that with the bread book, but
The bread book.
the bread book, yeah. I mean, when you're talking about communist theory, I think he kind of did a better job than Marx did with like
I
human nature. He wasn't so analytical and like, no, it has to be this, it's this, and it's this, and it's like, yeah, Marx was very, I guess, the best term would be analytical, I think, whereas Kropotkin actually considered the human condition, which is nice.
Wasn't he a Freemason?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know. I have no idea.
I'll look it up right fucking now.
Do it.
Well, I will also say this about about Marx is that apparently with dialectical materialism, the fact that it doesn't consider human nature or human psychology, this is something I actually thought about when reading Ted Kaczynski's his manifesto about industrial society and its future. He mentioned something necessary for human psychology, something he calls the power process, which is basically the process of seizing an opportunity to achieve your goals, and then working toward achieving those goals, and then actually achieving it. Or alternatively, looking at a situation, making your own opportunities, and then working from there. So Marx's dialectical materialism does not outline at all how to do this. It was sort of like an open book. Even Kropotkin doesn't really go into depth about it as much as Ted Kaczynski does.
Yeah,
Even though I
well,
think some of Ted Kaczynski's takes are a little, shall we say,
Spicy.
boneheaded.
based. Yeah.
Little bit. What do you call grug? Is it unga? It's grug. It's a little bit.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I
I
mean,
don't know.
Ted Kaczynski does not come off as being explicitly anti-technology. He doesn't come off as an anarcho-primitivist,
Right.
but I can definitely see where anarcho-primitivism and Luddites get their inspiration from him.
Sure. No, I think his thing is more about the effect that technology has on the psyche, if I remember correctly.
I mean, the one thing I think you and we all can agree on is that one of the worst effects of technology on the human psyche, especially social media, and I know this is going to be really hypocritical because we're talking on Discord,
Not a huge deal, no.
but I just want you to know that the irony isn't lost on me. It's that social media basically rewired our brains so that we don't have any sort of delayed gratification. We
Yes.
became became more entitled as the likes, shares, retweets, and the attention that we get on social media versus real life. People
Yeah,
suddenly
Yeah.
began to shift more
and it
towards
hits
social
different
media
too,
clout than
doesn't it?
actually meaningful relationships and connections with their communities.
And it hits different too,
Oh,
though.
it's
It
way different.
hits
Yeah.
different. Because like you get it all worked up in your head, and then it's like what you think about, and you get all excited, and like, yeah, dude, it hits different than a in-person interaction, which is like a momentary experience that we used to draw meaning from. And now, like, we draw meaning from like the excitement we generate within our own minds about these fucking posts that we
Yeah.
be making to one another.
I mean, my one friend my one friend described it to me in the absolute best way possible. He called this schizophrenic nonsense where people literally believe contradictory things and they don't really like even I even see this in the left where people are only in part of the left for the aesthetic of it, not the actual fucking message, not the
Yeah,
actual
I,
philosophy of it. Like
I call
they
it
Right.
don't believe in anything
performative.
or stand for anything.
Yeah, I
Right.
call it
It's
performative.
exactly. It's performative.
Performative.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, so that's not just a left thing either. That's a right thing as well. Um, I mean, pretty much anything that there is, or people who are doing it for the clout on social media. Um, there are people who can't
And
like explain their beliefs well, or maybe they have like some zingers or something, and that's about it. They like a very shallow understanding of their beliefs, and then they just kind of, okay, here's what it is now, like my thing, like my post or whatever, or retweet me or whatever. You have no idea how many times, like, I've run in all these like libertarian and anarchist circles on Twitter. You have no idea how many times a day I see taxation is theft, and like that's it. That's the whole fucking thing. And it's got like 300, whatever likes. And it's like, dude, like, why? What? Like, okay, everyone who follows you understands that. Like, why are you just putting that out there? And why is it working? And that's fucking retarded.
This week takes, dude. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cancer. It's fucking cancer.
It's like, put out
It's a
something
social
meaningful, bruh.
disorder.
I mean, there are a few YouTube creators that I do follow
Yeah,
that
same.
you get really fucking annoyed with people basically repeating everything they say ad nauseum like NPCs or
Right.
like one of those stupid like South African gray macaws. Like,
Ah,
you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
like some
Yeah.
NPC
kind of
normie.
animal.
I like the NPC. Yeah, the NPC meme is so spot on. That's why it's had such lasting, power. Like it got staying power because it's so true. People just repeat the shit that they hear, and they're like, "Oh, well, people like that I said that, so I'm gonna keep saying it." It's the most
Well,
I
me and
mean,
fucking
what
Villius
does
were
ridiculous
Sea
thing.
talking about
Monkey
this.
do, right?
Me and Villius were talking about this yesterday as well. The performative nature and how these people aren't genuine in anything they say or do. And that being one of my original red pills is like I said, I was all for like Bernie and universal health care and
Yeah. Oh my god,
safety
so
net and
cringe. Yeah,
whatever.
I was
And
too.
like I was also all about responsibility and this and that and like climate change. And then I googled solar forcing error propagation. Okay, and then I like figured out that everything else they were talking about was a fucking lie, and that they were willing to lie and win at any cost, which made them dangerous. And I realized, holy fuck, I need to reject in every fucking. And I realized it was worth rejecting by exploring it, literally, actually, intellectually attacking it, right?
That's funny.
Challenging my own fucking perceptions. And people are incapable of doing that. Some people might not even have an entire internal monologue. Like they might be supporting current thing like a lizard like does a thing, right? They might just eat and fuck. That just eat when hungry, fuck when horny, like want that steal,
Yeah.
kill somebody. Like it's a different person 15 seconds in the future than it is right now. And than it was yesterday because you didn't do nothing. You're just on your way to church. Right?
Right.
So you lack a time preference and you lack the capabilities of, and this is why no one is equal. Some people literally can't fucking picture an apple in their head.
Well, so to
Okay,
be fair
like
with the equality thing, no one is equal. That's 100% true. But it's like also each person is not even equal to themselves on any given day. I mean, you're better than you were the previous day, or you're not as good as you were the previous day. Like, no one is equal even to themselves on any given day. That's why equality is bullshit. But of course, what they push is equity and not equality.
but that's just another word game that they're trying to
Right.
play
It's a
to
hundred
again
percent,
gain clout, gain money and
dude.
fucking power.
If you want to look at like how the left, and I mean like the general left, we I think we all agree that the people that we're talking about are shit. These
Yeah.
people is what I'm talking about. If you read Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, you will see every single play in their playbook in that book. It's all there, all of it. Like it's laid out. You can just go
Yeah,
read
and
that
they do
and
lay it
you'll
out
know.
though. The mask is off.
Right.
Would it
The
be
ma-
would it be too much if I said like people that are far left thinkers are borderline like mental disorder? Like was that harsh for me to say that, or is that you know?
I would say
No.
circumstantial evidence these days at least points to it. Correlation may not be causation, but there's a strong corollary
Well,
factor there.
yeah, I think
Because
it's a chicken
I
and the
have a
egg
story.
issue.
I have a quick story I want to share. When I was grabbing an Uber to an airport, and I was talking to this gay black guy, and he was obviously a Democrat, liberal, hardcore, and we had a conversation about gun control because of the shootings that happened in Texas and Buffalo. And I finally realized why some people are so against guns. And this guy was basically said, well, I would not want to have a gun because if I got angry at somebody, I would feel like I would want to shoot that person. And that clicked to me. And that really clicked to me because I realized these people are incompetent and they're incapable of self control. Therefore, they project that on healthy people that can, you know, sustain themselves in a society normally, you know.
Well,
But
beyond
they
that, they
project
don't.
they,
They
I think they
also their
project their
degeneracy.
twisted
Also,
degeneracy on
yeah,
other normal people.
yeah,
And so
they do
that's
that.
why they are anti-gun. They're anti-gun and anti-Second Amendment. I believe is because they themselves can't handle that responsibility.
Yeah, well,
I
they're
mean,
afraid
I
that
have no.
anyone else.
Well, hang on. Let Patrick talk real quick. 'Cause it's been a
Yeah,
while
let's
since
do
he's
that.
talked.
Yeah.
But
Well, I well I don't well I don't think being gay or trans is a sign of degeneracy. What I do know identify clearly as degeneracy is this this embracing of someone of your incompetence and projecting that insecurity onto others. That is degeneracy.
I
Like
agree with you, dude. Yeah,
mhm.
absolutely.
also,
Yeah.
I used to be one of those NPC liberals myself, but the more I looked around and the more I began to analyze my beliefs, I realized, holy fucking shit, a lot of my liberal beliefs are just not tenable. And
Yeah.
I
Me
have
too,
since
dude. Me too.
and
Yeah.
I have since basically embraced the Second Amendment, whilst and I've since embraced the Second Amendment. I have come to understand some many points that conservatives have,
Well,
and
isn't
I
that
also
because
began
we're
to realize,
willing to like share them in a respectful manner as opposed to like
Well, I mean,
demanding you fucking conform to them? Otherwise, we'll cancel you and find out where you work and we'll track you down your house and we'll send, journalists to it to ask you questions
well,
and then
so
bother
hang
your
on.
employer.
I don't
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
that
I'm like,
makes it more. I don't think that like not doing that makes it more.
Valid.
Convincing, right? I think it's more that like okay. So first of all, I mean, even Marx was anti-gun control. I mean, do you agree with that, Patrick?
well, he was. It's you can literally find the 1850
Right.
letter to London communist organizations where he literally said this.
Right. Yes, 100%. He did. Yeah, he said under no circumstances should the worker be disarmed. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not. I don't know the exact quote off the top of my head. But he essentially was saying the same reason why the Second Amendment exists is so that the common person can defend themselves from a tyrannical, whatever, whether it be a government or whether it be, your local warlord or whether it be whatever. He
Or
was
the
saying
Pinkertons at your steel plant.
whatever it is, right? So, I mean, I think all of us here are pro gun. I mean, am I right about that?
Oh yeah, really is
I mean,
also is.
any,
Yeah.
if anything,
Recently got a gun.
we're all pro Second Amendment here. That I don't deny.
Okay. Um,
I mean, I've seen liberal gun owners literally argue for gun control that would literally turn them into felons.
yeah, yeah. Well,
And
they're
I'm like,
not that.
you
They're
can,
not that bright.
That's
I'm,
what I
Liberals.
don't
Yeah.
understand.
What's
That's
up
How
right.
with the
how do
10
those
round
people?
magazine in California? What is that all about?
Jeez.
Nonsense.
What that's like imagine like 500 years ago, like you riding on your horse, and then they pull you over and they say, "Well, we have to arrest you because your sword is too long." Like what?
That did happen. That did happen. There's a reason why the Messer exists. 'Cause
That is
in
true.
Germany, because it was a long knife. It was not a sword, technically,
Not a
due to
sword
whatever laws.
officer.
It was
You
not
have
a
no
sword,
probable
right?
cause, officer. Am I free to
Right.
go or am I
Wait, did
being
that actually
detained?
happen?
Yes,
Yeah, dude.
100%. Go look up the Messer. Messer, I believe, is how that's
The
So
spelled.
large
if your
knife. It's
sword
not a
was a certain
sword.
length, they would like take you down.
Yeah, you were not. It was illegal for a non-nobility to carry a sword, so they would carry a quote unquote long knife, which was
A big
essentially a sword, but
it's
by
a
the
sword.
by the right, it's a sword, but like by the laws of Germany at the time or whatever passed for Germany at the time, um, it was technically a knife just based on the dimensions of the handle, and so there were a couple of other things I can't remember off the top of my head at the moment.
And that's the source of German humor. It's
Right.
the
But
source
I
of
mean,
German
yeah.
humor.
But it's also
I think
why gun control doesn't work, because sword control didn't work, a
Sword
1,000 years
control
ago.
didn't work either.
So like, how the fuck is gun control gonna work? That's
It's not
stupid.
a gun, dude. It's not a sword, dude. It's a big knife.
Right.
Fuck off.
It's not
Leave me
a
alone.
rifle. It's a pistol with the with the stock. Like,
With the long barrel.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's
I
just
think in the 14th and 15th centuries, the Catholic Church literally tried outlawing crossbows because they thought it was too dangerous a weapon for the common person to
oh
wield.
man, yeah. The Genoese would not be fans of that. I'll tell you that.
Right. They'd probably schism right then and there.
Right. The French, I believe, yeah, the French were also big fans of the crossbow.
You know what else,
I
though? It
mean,
was a pretty fucking effective weapon against armored assholes.
Yeah, it
Rich,
was.
rich, rich,
it wasn't
rich dicks.
from my reading of the manuscripts, it's not that the crossbow was any more effective against plate armor than a typical English longbow. It's that the crossbow's ease of use for the average soldier at the time meant
Uh,
that more of them could be fielded and
Yes.
aimed at night. It was more about volume of fire than the power of each shot.
No, that's
In
and
terms of
the
true. But it
accessibility.
had the power of the longbow, but didn't need the training that the longbow requires. So that's why it was a superior weapon. Um,
For the
although
average chap.
for the right, exactly, it took very little training to be able to use it. It's kind of like when what was it? When
Ha!
like the
The Catholic
musket
Church, though.
Well, like when the musket came
the
into popularity, and armored knights who had fought their whole lives and trained their whole lives were just being blown away by, you know, dirty peasants with dysentery, you know, on the battlefield. It was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's a paradigm shift for
Oh
you right
yeah,
there.
yeah, absolutely.
Life comes at you
well,
fast.
What an
well, John,
unlucky time, dude, to be a knight.
What a time.
Yeah.
well, John, I have to partially correct you on muskets making knights obsolete. That is an
Okay.
extremely common myth among medieval historians.
Okay.
The real downfall of the knights is that they fell out of fashion because kings and nation and leaders realized, fuck, I can get way more bang for my buck by just paying
Fielding a
off
bunch of
by having
peasants.
a
Yeah.
standing professional army instead of paying off some rich ass noble wearing a suit of plate armor, an expensive suit of plate armor
Well,
that
you're
takes
right. You're
fucking
absolutely right.
Well,
It was the infrastructure that supported them that actually collapsed beneath them.
right.
And
Yeah.
it was a slow change. It wasn't really a collapse. Like I'm trying to tell Seawall won't happen. It's not going to be a collapse. It's like a slow change in
It
the
was a
way things
paradigm
were.
shift, yeah. So, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you're right about that. However, it was the effectiveness of that
Of
the
pike and
cheaper
shot
pike and
and
shot.
standing armies, right?
Right,
The standing armies were made of pike and shot. That was the deal, though. That's what fucking happened, and
right.
suddenly cavalry charges aren't so meaningful anymore. When you
Well,
can
for a little
pay a
while,
bunch
yeah.
of motherfuckers to stand in a square and shoot out from behind pikes, yeah, that's a paradigm shift. And so suddenly you don't need your nobles anymore. So
Yeah.
you start ignoring them and let them fend for themselves, and suddenly they get overtaken, and
Which is
things
funny
change.
because it kind of reverts back, like the pike and shot strategy is kind of a revert back to like the Greek, phalanx and then arrows in the middle, archers in the middle. Right, it's kind of like a reversion back to that, just with black powder and pikes instead of spears and arrows. Just kind of funny how history repeats itself, even though it changes.
Well,
Yeah,
history
nothing
may not
new.
repeat, but it certainly does rhyme.
Doesn't it?
That
Yeah.
that's a better way to put it. You're right. Yeah, that is definitely a better way to put it. It doesn't repeat
And I
necessarily, but it rhymes. Yeah.
and I think the same thing happened. A very similar thing happened to the samurai in Japan, but the
Yes.
samurai managed to stick around till at least the middle of the 19th century.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Until ultimately, yeah, their entire way of life was again through a gradual,
But
finally,
they still
yeah,
shifted from the beginning of the samurai to the end. Like they were not the same throughout that
yeah. Even
history.
throughout that whole
Like
time, yeah,
their
they weren't even
role and what it took to be one, everything changed about them
a
from the
lot.
beginning to the end. It
Yeah,
changed continuously. I mean, it's just like everything
yeah,
else, right? Everything changes.
yeah. But nothing
Yeah.
changes.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
Everything stays the
nothing.
same. Yeah, and the more things change, the more things stay the same for sure.
I mean,
absolutely.
that's more of a function of how fast things change. Like in today's society, with let's say the iPhones, like there's an iPhone 8. Okay, suddenly there's an iPhone 12, and I'm like, okay, what the fuck is the major difference between my iPhone 8 and this iPhone 12 billion, whatever the fuck? I mean, my
Yeah.
iPhone 8 is just as good now as it was back when it first came out. So
Well, dude,
Until they start throttling it.
you need more and newer widgets in order to stay, profitable because
Yeah.
that's the paradigm. Like you need more and newer widgets. So what do you do to squeeze those margins you were talking about? You export the labor
Yep.
to fucking suicide net buildings where, you can pay 12-year-old slaves to build your iPhone 8, 12 millions because you already sold everyone who wants an 11 an 8 3 years ago. So you got to give them something new that they were going to want to buy. And then, so, okay, let's disable, 3G. Let's phase out
Yeah.
3G. Let's disable, those old operating systems. Let's say you can't even make a phone call from this anymore because it's not secure enough anymore. So, hey,
oh,
we got our slaves
here's
making
the
the
one thing
12.
that here's the one thing that I absolutely find scummy that every phone company does, from Apple to Android to everyone. Is like they literally build in like dead man switches into the software that after some point the software starts to automatically degrade itself after a
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
set number of updates.
For sure.
It's
And
Just,
you
really
know what? If
fucking.
there were more than two, right? If it wasn't just Android and iPhone, that wouldn't
yeah.
be the case.
Right. I promise an open source wouldn't allow that shit.
Right.
Same thing with
Imagine if Linux had a
automobiles.
phone.
Same thing with automobiles back in the day, like Mercedes and BMW used to make really reliable cars, and now if you look at them, they're all made out of plastic and it's all electronics, and they break down a lot actually, And so making reliable cars now, it's not even good for business because it was like you buy a car, it lasts you for decades. I mean, no one would be buying cars,
Right. You're in the
you know.
business
Yeah.
of selling cars here. Like,
Right.
If
And
so,
it's also
yeah,
not
well,
and
and
it's
that's
also
the fucking thing about Keynesian economics is like
Keynesian.
Keynesian because
Keynesian.
like
Yeah.
it's eternal profit, always growth, like always return on investment, never about sustainability or like making a
Which wasn't
oh,
lifestyle
always
that's
the
of.
a night.
case in the United States,
That's a
also.
nightmare for people.
I
Geez,
mean,
it's a matter of the way our money works. It's because it's a loan that we have to pay the private issuing
Yeah.
bank with interest. That's why we have to generate profit forever
Yeah.
with disregard for sustainability. It's and always making new widgets and making shit that lasts less long
I mean, dude.
because I hate it. I
Yeah.
fucking hate it.
Dude,
I think that's part
when
of
you're
why
born,
society is running. Because if
It's
people
running into
just
the
became
ground.
sovereign, it wouldn't circulate the blood of our economy. It
right?
was it would stagnate at some point.
Jesus.
But like when you're
Yeah.
born, you're in debt already for $63,000. It's the minute that you're born. Like imagine fucking that. You have no choice in the matter that you're in debt already. So this is
Can
what, and
you
I think this is
elaborate on
what.
that?
What's that?
Can you elaborate on that? What you mean you're dead as soon as you're born?
So I'm talking about like the at least in the United States. I don't know about the rest of the world. At least in the United States, as soon as you are born, you are $63,000 in debt. I think is the number right now. And it's what
Why
you.
is that?
It's yeah. It's by government spending. It's by the Federal Reserve printing more money, every single dollar that is printed is owed back with interest. So even if like every single dollar existed physically and you gave that back to the Federal Reserve, you
There
still owe
still wouldn't be
interest.
enough. Yeah, you'd
It still
still
wouldn't
owe
be
It's
enough.
kind
money.
of like a
Right.
Zeitgeist movie.
Um I mean, so okay, so the Zeitgeist movie, I watched that when I was like, 18. I was like, oh my god, this is so mind blowing. But so not everything in there is a lie. The Zeitgeist movie is kind of a, I don't know. It's
Abby's first red pill.
yeah, baby's first red pill. Yeah. But that, and I don't think they say that in that movie. I'm not 100%. It's been, like I said, I was like 18 when I first watched that movie. I'm 32 now. Like it's,
Okay, so what was that, 20
it's been a
years
little
ago,
while.
bro?
Yeah, it's been a little while since I've seen that movie. But
We
yeah,
should
no, but
watch Party
that's
It.
the case. We should watch that again. We should do a movie night when we
Yeah,
watch
watch
that movie.
Party It. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. But anyway, so but no, I mean that's like the general, like, with the amount of debt that the United States government has.
Is
Uh,
that the amount that like the healthcare system spends on your birth and thus is owed back in fucking
no,
like
it's
is this some
because,
indirect hocus pocus bullshit you're talking about,
I mean,
man?
indirect in the way that the government spends this amount of money, or is this amount of money in debt, and then it divides that amongst all the citizens. And so
Oh, I see. So our share of that,
our
right,
share of
is
that debt is $63,000 as soon as you're born. It only grows as you grow, right? Because the government only
But
spends more. The deficit doesn't go down, right? It goes up continuously. It spins out of control. You can almost not see, several of the digits there. You can only see the trillions and maybe some of the, 100 millions, or 100 billions. I mean, um, but yeah. So that's what I mean by you're in debt as soon as you're born, is that what the previous generations have spent, you are on the hook for, and then what's being spent now while you're alive, your children and your grandchildren are going to be on the hook for. Like that's the
sounds like
promise. That's
modern
how.
day slavery.
Right. It's debt slavery, and that's something that,
I hate it. I hate
yeah,
it.
that's
I fucking
100%.
hate it.
Right.
If there's
So
one
You
thing,
have different names for it now. It's called employment, but it's just
Yeah, right. There you
yeah.
go.
I
yeah.
mean,
I
We
mean,
sugarcoat it. We're like, yeah, you're an employee, aka a slave. Yeah.
Give your
if
time,
there's
yeah.
one thing I fear more than death itself, it's debt. It's
Dead.
like debt is the
yeah.
one thing. It's the one thing I fear more than death.
Now
Like
Vilius and I
sometimes
were
if I
talking about this yesterday too, weren't we? You can leverage debt. Debt is actually can be worth more than money, like in a
Well, yeah.
way. Like
If
Well,
you're
debt
think
is
so
not
about it. If
debt
with
is
our
not really
currency devaluing constantly, if you get debt at the right time, then you can leverage that and capitalize on it. So, but
and
I don't
right,
know. I don't
debt
know how to
doesn't
do that.
inflate. Debt doesn't inflate.
Right. So if
right,
you grab onto a certain amount of debt during a like inflation, like you're kind of making money in the sense, don't
In a
you?
sense, you end up making money because what you hold is of greater cash value in the long term. It's of greater cash value. It gains value, the property for which you have traded your debt, right? The thing onto which you are holding is theoretically, if it was a worthwhile investment, is going to
That's
be,
why online investing in online real estate right now is becoming such a popular thing, is because
yeah.
people don't have enough money to actually buy a house, but they can invest partially into it, and
Give
they
me
can see
one
their
moment.
debt.
We're back.
yeah,
One
that's a
What?
moment. We're
mortgage,
back.
no.
right?
That's one of the leading causes of homelessness in the U.S. It's homes being used as an investment vehicle. Like I can't even begin to tell you how many properties I see driving around in all over New Jersey that are just sitting there empty. When I'm thinking this house could house a homeless person on the street, lower the rate of crime, and thus saving townships lots of money on policing. But is anything going to be done about it? No, because the investors want to keep people out of these homes because they want to make money off of the investments of trading, reselling, and reselling these homes just to make ever more profit. And if someone is living in that house, it just makes the process that much more difficult.
Yeah.
You see what I
That's
mean?
why a lot of
And
these private investment firms are they're laundering this fiat currency funny money into real estate. And they're
because real estate
gaining
is not a liquid asset. Real
exactly,
estate, real
exactly. It
estate,
will never
because no,
inflate.
I mean, stock values go up and down, but but
Real
land,
estate, yeah,
but
land,
homes
property. Yep.
are.
money off of their Amazon sales. And that's kind of the point.
They exist on Amazon.
Yep. So, are we about ready?
Yeah. We're ready to end the show here. Um, all right. So yeah, it looks like we're done. I don't see anybody else in the general chat. It's been 2 hours. So yeah, let's go ahead and end it. I think that was a great call-in show. I hope that those guys call in more often,
Yeah.
for sure. And yeah, okay. So Lecture to the Max said there was no sound before. That means that because I was on my phone, that my point wasn't coming across. So that's unfortunate. But that's all right. I know that now for the future, and that makes sense that it wouldn't too. Um, but yeah, so I won't be doing that in the future. um, but yeah, we will end for the night. Guys, if you liked what you saw, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And check out our description down below, especially if you want to call in. Our Discord link is down below. So make sure you hit that and you join it if you haven't done that already. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night with a regular episode of the Porch Boys podcast. Good night, guys.